Hi, everyone. Welcome back to English with Sam and Nora podcast. I'm Nora.
And I'm Sam. How are you doing today, Nora?
I'm having such a great day, Sam. I woke up early this morning, made myself a nice cup of coffee, and I was so excited to record this episode with you.
That sounds wonderful.
What about you? How was your day so far?
Well, to be honest, I had a bit of a challenging morning. I spilled coffee on my favorite shirt, and then I was running late for work. But you know what? I'm here with you now, talking to our amazing listeners, so my day is definitely getting better.
That's so sweet, Sam.
You know, Nora, what I just did right there, telling you about my morning, that's actually a perfect example of today's topic.
Exactly. Today, we're going to talk about something that many English learners find really difficult. We're talking about how to talk about yourself.
Right. And this is so important because, well, people are always asking us to talk about ourselves, aren't they?
Oh, yes. Like when you meet someone new, or in a job interview, or even just making small talk with friends.
Exactly. But here's the thing, many people feel nervous or shy when they have to talk about themselves. Even native English speakers sometimes feel this way.
That's so true. But don't worry, everyone. Today, we're going to give you some simple and practical ways to talk about yourself with confidence.
Yes, and we'll practice with 5 different situations. 5 real examples that happen in everyday life. You know, Nora, before we jump into our examples, I think it's worth talking about why this skill is so important in today's world.
Perfect. So let's start with our first situation. Sam, what's our first example?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest challenges is that many cultures teach us to be modest and humble. In some places, talking about yourself feels like bragging, and that makes people really uncomfortable.
Our first situation is a job interview. Imagine you're sitting in front of your future boss and they ask you that classic question: tell me about yourself.
That's exactly right. But here's the thing, in English speaking cultures, especially in professional environments, being able to clearly and confidently talk about yourself isn't bragging, it's a necessary life skill. Whether you're applying for a job, making friends, or building business relationships, people need to know who you are and what you bring to the table.
Oh, this question makes so many people nervous. And there's another important point here, Sam. When you can talk about yourself well, it actually helps other people feel more comfortable too. If you're clear and confident about who you are, it gives others permission to share about themselves as well. It creates better connections.
Right, but here's a simple formula. Start with your name, then mention your experience or education, and finally, share something you enjoy about work.
That sounds easy. Can you give us an example, Sam?
Of course. Hi, I'm Sam. I studied computer science in university, and I have 3 years of experience working with websites. I really enjoy solving problems and helping people through technology. See? Simple and professional.
That's perfect. And notice how Sam didn't talk for too long. In a job interview, keep it short and focus on work related information.
Exactly. Now, let's move to our second situation. Nora, what's number 2?
And Sam, let me add a few more tips for job interview situations. First, always prepare this answer in advance. You don't want to be thinking about it for the first time when you're sitting in front of the interviewer. Our second situation is meeting new people at a social event, like a party or a community gathering. This is very different from a job interview because it's more casual and friendly.
Great advice. And here's another tip. Practice your answer out loud, not just in your head. When you practice speaking it, you'll sound more natural and confident. Also, make sure your answer is relevant to the job you're applying for. If you're applying to be a teacher, don't spend too much time talking about your experience working in a restaurant. Right, much more relaxed.
Yes, so for social situations, you can start with your name, mention where you're from or what you do, and then share a hobby or something fun about yourself.
That makes sense. Give us an example, Nora.
Sure. Hi, I'm Nora. I'm originally from Canada, but I live here now. I work as a teacher, and in my free time, I love reading mystery books and trying new coffee shops. See how it's more personal and friendly?
Perfect. And that gives people something to talk about. They might say, "Oh, I love coffee too." Or, "What's your favorite mystery book?"
Exactly. Sharing hobbies is a great way to start conversations. Now, what's our third situation, Sam? Exactly. And here's something really important about social situations. It's okay to ask questions too. You might say something like, I'm still new to the area, so I'd love to hear about the best restaurants around here. Do you have any favorites? This shows you're interested in learning about your new community.
Our third situation is your first day at a new school or workplace. Everyone's looking at you, and the teacher or boss says, "Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?"
Oh, that can be scary, standing in front of a whole group of new people.
It can be, but here's the key: keep it short and mention something that shows you're excited to be there.
Great advice. Can you show us how?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Sam. I just moved here from Chicago, and I'm really excited to be part of this team. I'm looking forward to working with all of you and learning new things. Short, positive, and friendly.
That's wonderful. And notice how Sam mentioned being excited and looking forward to things. Using positive words makes people feel good about meeting you.
Exactly right. Okay, what's our fourth situation? And here's another tip for first day introductions. If you're nervous, that's completely normal. You can even acknowledge it in a friendly way. You might say, "I'm a little nervous, but really excited to be here." People appreciate honesty, and it actually makes you seem more approachable.
Our fourth situation is when you're getting to know someone you might want to date, or when you're on a dating app and writing your profile.
This is tricky. You want to be interesting, but not too much. You want to be honest, but also attractive.
Right. The key here is to be genuine and show your personality. Share what makes you happy or what you're passionate about.
That's a good advice. Show us an example, Nora.
Okay, I'm Nora, and I'm someone who finds joy in small things, like discovering a new hiking trail, cooking a perfect pasta dish, or having deep conversations over coffee. I love learning about different cultures, and I'm always planning my next travel adventure.
That's really nice. It shows your interests and your personality. Someone reading that would think, this person sounds fun and interesting.
Exactly. And notice I didn't just list facts about myself, I showed my personality and what makes me excited about life.
Perfect. Now, let's talk about our fifth and final situation. That's a really important point, Nora. In dating situations, authenticity is key. Don't try to be someone you're not just to impress someone. And here's something many people forget: it's okay to mention things you're working on or learning. You might say, "I'm currently learning to play the guitar," or "I'm trying to get better at cooking." It shows you're growing as a person.
Yes, our last situation is networking events. These are professional gatherings where people meet to make business connections.
Right. This is similar to a job interview, but more conversational. You want to be professional, but also memorable.
Exactly. At networking events, it's good to have what we call an elevator pitch. That's a very short introduction that you can say in the time it takes to ride an elevator.
That's usually about 30 seconds. Can you give us an example?
Of course. Hi, I'm Nora. I'm a marketing specialist who helps small businesses grow their online presence. I love working with creative entrepreneurs who want to reach more customers through social media and content marketing. What do you do?
That's excellent. And notice how Nora ended with a question. That's very important in networking. You want to show interest in the other person too.
Absolutely. Remember, everyone, talking about yourself isn't just talking, it's starting a conversation.
That's such an important point, Nora. So let's summarize what we've learned today. We've looked at 5 different situations, and each one needs a slightly different approach. You know what, Nora? Before we summarize, I think we should talk about some common mistakes people make when introducing themselves. I've noticed some patterns that can really hurt your first impression.
Right. For job interviews, be professional and focus on your skills. For social events, be friendly and share your hobbies. For your first day somewhere new, be positive and excited. Oh, that's such a good idea, Sam. Yes, let's talk about what not to do. I think the biggest mistake is what I call the apologetic introduction. This is when people start by putting themselves down.
And for dating or personal situations, show your personality and what makes you happy. For networking events, be professional but memorable and always ask about the other person.
Right, like when someone says, "Hi, I'm John. I'm not very interesting, but," or "I'm probably not the best person to ask, but," stop right there. Never start by telling people you're not interesting or not qualified.
If you don't believe in yourself, why should they?
Perfect. And remember, the most important thing is to practice. The more you practice talking about yourself, the more natural and confident you'll become. Another big mistake is what I call the life story dump. This is when someone thinks they need to tell you everything about themselves in the first 5 minutes. They'll say something like, "Hi, I'm Sarah. I was born in Texas, moved to California when I was 12, went to UCLA, studied biology, worked at 3 different companies, got married, had 2 kids, got divorced, and now I work in marketing." Way too much information.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to English with Sam and Nora podcast.
Exactly. Remember, an introduction is just the beginning of getting to know someone. You don't need to share everything at once. Share a little bit, let the other person respond, and then the conversation can develop naturally. Think of it like opening a door, not throwing the door wide open and dragging people inside.
We really hope this episode helped you feel more confident about talking about yourself. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review.
And here's another mistake: being too formal or too casual for the situation. If you're at a job interview, don't say, "Hey, what's up? I'm Mike." And if you're at a casual party, don't say, "Good evening, I am Michael Johnson, and I am pleased to make your acquaintance." Match your tone to the situation.
Yes, and if you have any questions or suggestions for future episodes, please write to us in the comments. We love hearing from you. Now, Nora, let's give our listeners a chance to practice. Let's create a few quick scenarios, and listeners at home can practice their introductions. Are you ready for some role playing?
Until next time, keep practicing your English, and remember, you have interesting things to say about yourself. I love this idea. Okay, everyone, pause the podcast if you need to and practice out loud. Remember, speaking out loud is different from thinking in your head. Here's your first scenario. You're at a coffee shop, and someone sitting near you starts a friendly conversation. Introduce yourself. Give it a try.
Okay, how did that feel? Here's scenario number 2. You're starting a new job tomorrow, and your manager asks you to introduce yourself to the whole team in a video call. What would you say? Remember, be professional, but friendly. Take your time to think about it.
And one final challenge: introduce yourself at a parent teacher meeting. Practice now.
Take care, everyone, and we'll see you in the next episode of English with Sam and Nora podcast. Bye.
Bye, everyone.